with candidates running for office in Loudoun County and the municipalities within. Um, this is a city mayor of Loudon race. So to begin, would you just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, your background, and how long you've served as mayor? And can you briefly explain the role of mayor of Loudon?
Sure. I'm Mayor Jeff Harris, a lifelong resident of Loudoun County. I've been an elected official for 20 years. I served 2 terms on the Loudoun County Board of Education, 1 term on City Council, and mayor for the last 2 terms.
wow.
I'm currently the church administrator at Blairland Baptist Church. I'm married to Karen Harris for 46 wonderful years. I have 2 children, Blake and Carrie, and 5 beautiful grandchildren, Jackson, Hallie, Padma, Charlie, and George. As far as the role of mayor goes, the mayor should be the face of the city. He or she should be very visible and accessible to the public. The mayor has 1 vote, just like the other 4 council members. The mayor has no veto power or any other authority outside this conference room that we're in today. The mayor is responsible for conducting the city council meetings and to ensure that everyone's points of view are heard, considered, valued, and respected.
For those who may not be familiar with city government, can you kind of explain what the city of Loudon is responsible for? Like, who does the city government serve, and how does that correspond with Loudoun County and the other governments within?
Okay. The city of Loudon is responsible for providing city services to our taxpaying citizens. These essential services include sanitation, street and sidewalk maintenance and repair, police and fire protection, and park and recreation programs and facilities. We serve at the will of our taxpayers and city residents. We strive to continue the collaboration with the county, District 1 county commissioners to ensure that our citizens have representation from both local governments. I think that's very important that we have representation from both government entities.
And to go further in that, how would you describe the working relationship between the city of Loudon and Loudoun County, as well as neighboring municipalities?
Well, we've certainly had some challenges with our county government, especially when it comes to growth and annexations. And we're going to continue to work to try to improve those and try to get towards we have a consensus when there are disagreements. Just like in your family, you're going to have disagreements. It's how you work through those disagreements that's really important. So the bottom line is each of us are simply trying to protect the rights of our citizens in our local government. And the privileges that they have. Sometimes we're going to disagree. I think personally, and I've talked to several county commissioners about this, I think better communication and more communication between elected officials. And if we could get to a point that we have mutual respect for each other, even though we disagree, we're trying to focus the same group of people here in Loudoun County. So the city and the county residents, I think, expect us to try to collaborate and come up with a consensus on these decisions. And we're going to disagree sometime.
Mm-hmm. Looking back, and this one's a hard question for anybody that's incumbent, looking back over your time in office, what accomplishment are you most proud of?
Well, no disrespect, Elijah, but I disagree with the way you worded the question, for one thing, and here's why. Mayor Harris hadn't accomplished anything outside of City Council's desires and wishes. Remember, I only have 1 vote out of 5. It takes cooperation from council members to get anything accomplished. However, I am very proud of the fact that I've made myself available to the general public. My first term in office, I set up office hours. I've tried to be highly visible to the general public and accessible. I think that's important. They need to know how to get a hold of me and when I'm in the office, what my office hours are, and I've established that. These office hours are important, and I think I need to promote those so people know when I'm in the office, when they can make an appointment to come and see me. Most people have my cell phone number. It's published out there. I want Loudon City residents to know who their mayor is and how to get in touch with them. But outside of this council room, I have 1 vote in this room, and really the power is within the city council, and that's where decisions are made.
So, kind of overlooking, can you give us a snapshot of city finances, where they were when you took office, where they are today, and what you think maybe a collective long-term financial goal for the city would be?
Sure, this is going to be kind of a lengthy answer, but I've got several statistics here I want to make sure I get out there. First of all, the city is in financially sound today. and we're committed to protecting that position while putting our resources to work for the community. Um, Loudon continues to face rising costs for personnel, equipment, um, materials, insurance, essential services, and we're going to continue to meet these challenges. And here's how we're going to do it: we're going to have disciplined, long-term planning, ensuring that recurring revenues support recurring expenses, while reserves and other one-time resources are used for capital needs, major projects, and investments that's going to benefit the community that we serve. When I was reelected in December of 2022, Loudon had a solid financial foundation. We showed a general fund balance of approximately 10.3 million and approximately 4.4 million in governmental debt. Our adopted fiscal year 2027 budget makes significant investments in personnel, equipment, infrastructure, technology, and long-range planning, while projecting that approximately 11.7 million will be in the general fund at the end of this budget. So together with City Council, and we're proud of this, we've retired approximately $2.1 million in governmental debt, which ahead of schedule, which avoids future interest costs, and also freed up future resources for services, equipment, and infrastructure. The adopted fiscal year 2027 budget also provides approximately $5.5 million to police and fire protection. We also have invested heavily in sanitation. Sanitation is an essential service. We've invested in personnel and equipment. You know, community growth places a strain on sanitation services. So we've added with additional employees, collection routes, vehicle maintenance, and also disposal cost, taking things to the landfill. Our adopted budget gives approximately $1.2 million into the sanitation department for operations and $679,000 for sanitation equipment. So we've invested heavily into that just because we know that's an essential service that needs to continue, and our city residents depend on it. And I'm also very proud of another accomplishment. We've created and expanded a dedicated engineering and planning department. This is a new department for us, and the growth has caused a lot of that to happen as well. We want to come up. We've developed a comprehensive land use plan, and we're doing a Highway 72, State Route 72 comprehensive. It's a corridor study. We want to know where we need to place red lights, how we need to control this traffic. I mean, there's traffic comes here off of 411 going to Kingston and other things. We can't really control that, so we want to do a corridor study so we can control the traffic needs, and that's important to us. Another goal is to build upon Loudon's recent Tennessee Main Street accreditation and our partnership with Loudon Alive. We want to strengthen downtown commerce. We want to support existing businesses, encourage private investment, attract visitors to our downtown, and make tourism a greater contributor to our local economy, because basically our budget needs it. And also, an important thing to remember is that recurring services should be supported by recurring revenues, while one-time resources should be used for one-time capital investments. So we're going to continue planning several weeks or several years ahead so we don't get caught just reacting. We're proactive, not reactive. So we need to know what these large capital investments are going to be way ahead of time so we can prepare for them. Staff and City Council is also going to continue looking for operational efficiencies. I think that's really important that we look internally and see how we can streamline, make things more efficient. And I think that's important. Our directors are really looking into that right now. So the adopted capital plan that we have right now includes investments in land management software, public notification technology, implementation of a modern financial system. And all these tools can help reduce workflows, reduce duplication, strengthen internal controls, and improve public access to information, which allows our employees to spend more time serving our taxpaying citizens. So I think our budget's in really good shape. Now, we are in a budget deficit this year, which we're going to try to make sure that we try to reduce that as much as we can, but recurring revenues have to support recurring expenses.
Politics often receive more attention than policy, especially on a local level. As mayor, you represent every resident of the city of Loudon, regardless of political affiliation. How much does your personal political philosophy influence the way you govern? How do you ensure you're serving the entire community?
That's a good question, and I thought a lot about this question. I'm a long-time conservative Republican, um, and a man of faith, and I'm not ashamed of that. My principles and ideologies try to pattern my Christian beliefs and values on how we should treat other people. These values from the Bible, patterned by Jesus Christ, it doesn't apply to a specific political party or ethnic group, um, and we should treat everyone else with love and respect, regardless of their political position or party. So we're to treat others as we want to be treated, and that's the position I try to take. Um, Someone's political party, um, I don't believe anything's really nonpartisan,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have philosophies and things that dictate how we think and decision making. So, I mean, just because there may not be R or a D beside someone's political name on the ballot, I think partisanship plays into a lot of things that we do. I just try to make sure I treat everybody the same with love and respect, and the way I would want to be treated. And really, someone's political party doesn't really come into play of how I treat that individual.
What do you see as the biggest? Well, excuse me, let me back that up. What are your top priorities for the next 4 years if you're reelected? What policies or initiatives would you most like to accomplish?
I think the Main Street accreditation, we've been working on this for several years to try to get Main Street accreditation. We do have that now. This is a big step for Loudon, and it has enormous grant opportunities for our small businesses in our community, which is going to be a main point of emphasis as we go forward. Um, Also, we have a downtown master plan. We have a parks and recreation master plan that all need to begin the implementation phase. I mean, master plans don't just need to sit on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
They should guide which projects move forward and in what order and how they're funded. And that's what we're trying to focus on. These master plans, city strategic plan, all these plans don't need to just gather dust on a shelf. We need to figure out where we need to start them, what order we need to do them in, and how they're supposed to be funded. I think it's also important that we engage with another developer for our waterfront property. We didn't have good success with the recent developer, so we're kind of starting back over in that process. That's going to be important. I think we need to evaluate all departments that provide services to our citizens and explore opportunities to improve more efficient ways that we can improve city services in order we can have a positive impact on balancing our budget. I think that's very important. Also, we need to strive to continue keeping our tax rate low, but still provide the quality of services that our citizens expect and deserve. And lastly, I think we need to look at ways to improve and possibly expand our recreation fields and our fields and facilities and programs that we offer.
What do you see as the biggest challenges facing the city of Loudon over the next 4 years? Conversely, what opportunities are you most excited about?
I think expanding and improving city services along with the growth we're experiencing, and it's going to continue in Loudon. I mean, honestly, who would not want to live here?
Mm-hmm.
It's to me, it's the best small town in East Tennessee, and who would not want to live here? So we have to control this growth, and I think the way we do that, we update our comprehensive land use plan with proper zoning, restrictions, infrastructure that's required to support this growth, and we kind of control growth in a way that it happens in the areas we want it and the way we want it to happen and where we want it to happen. There are ways we can control growth. We can't stop it. I've told several people this. We can't shut the border of Loudon. I mean, but we can control it. We can slow it down. And we can control it through zoning and comprehensive land use plan. And honestly, some growth we could really use to help support our budget.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't just do it haphazardly. We've got to be with forethought and planning, and I think that's going to be an important thing going forward.
As mayor, you help develop the city budget and oversee city operations in partnership with city government and city council, as you mentioned earlier. As Loudon continues to grow, do you anticipate the need for additional employees or expanded services? If so, how do you balance those needs with responsible budgeting?
Yeah, it's always something we've got to consider.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as far as new employees go, that would come as a recommendation from our directors to our city manager, and then he would take those to us to approve as far as a budget item. So, I mean, if it's a need they feel is essential, I'm sure council would consider it and look at it. and take a hard look at it. But with our current budget deficit, it might be a hard sell. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's just something that we're going to, because that's a reoccurring expense that needs to be supported by reoccurring revenue. And I just think we need to hold the line on it best we can. And I think our directors and our city manager, they understand that. And when they get into the budget, they sharpen their pencil as much as they can. But if it's someone and it's a service that we just essentially have to have, I'm sure city council will find a way to try to get it funded.
What, and you touched on some of these, what major projects or initiatives do you hope residents will see completed over the next 4 years?
I think the waterfront development, it was a big incentive 4 years ago. And like I say, we didn't make much progress on that. So, but here's what I've tried to tell people. We've got one shot to do this right downtown with this development. And we want to make sure we do it right. Mm-hmm. And I think we weren't on the right track before. So we got to kind of regroup with that. And so I think that's a big initiative. Main Street grants for small businesses, I've touched on that a little bit. I think we're going to continue to recruit new businesses and try to recruit more jobs for our community in our area. Maintain, I think it's important too that we maintain our small town charm and personality and preserve our historic buildings. I mean, everyone loves our downtown, and that's certainly something that's kind of a gem when you come across the bridge. And I think it's just something that we just really preserve. And we got a lot of historic buildings. And I think with a recent historic survey that we did, we've identified those buildings and structures, and we want to try to preserve them the best we can. And another thing I'm really excited about is we've started a Loudon Legacy Foundation for a museum. And there's a lot of momentum going towards that. So I hope in the very near future we have a museum and a place where people can put important artifacts and things like that for people. We just to preserve history. And I think that's something that's going to be really important going forward. Also, I think along with that, maybe establishment of a community fund toward future community projects so that citizens can leave a legacy here to the town and community that they love. And I touched on this a little bit too. I think completing this Highway 72 corridor study to handle the traffic and where to place red lights, how to control that traffic, I think that's going to also be an important initiative for us to go forward with.
It's really hard to see the future, and things do pop up. But at the end of another term, what would success look like, and how do you believe people of Loudon should measure whether you've been successful as mayor?
I'd like to be able to leave office knowing our citizens knew who their mayor was, and he consistently looked out for their long-term best interest of the residents of the city of Loudon, even if they disagreed at the time. I think my goal has always been to protect the services and protect the growth and everything here in Loudon. It's an important balance I think we have to have. I want to be remembered as someone who served our community with just dedication and commitment.
Is there anything we haven't discussed that you'd like the voters of Loudon to know before they go to the polls?
Well, I just want them to know I love this community, and it's been my honor to serve as mayor for the last 8 years. I appreciate the trust and confidence that the voters have placed in me, and I don't take that responsibility lightly. City Council's goal is to make every taxpayer dollar work as hard as possible and keep the tax burden as low as reasonably possible without sacrificing public safety, essential services, or the city's long-term financial stability. So with staff and City Council's leadership, we built a strong foundation. We've protected the city's reserves. We've paid off approximately $2.1 million in obligations ahead of schedule. We've invested heavily in public safety and sanitation. We've created the professional capacity to manage growth responsibly. We're going to continue to do that. And we've positioned Loudon to begin implementing a long-term planning strategy. Our approach is to plan first, pursue growth strategically, invest local dollars responsibly, continue looking for operational efficiencies, and borrow only when it's necessary. That allows Loudon to improve services and infrastructure today while protecting the taxpayers and preserving the city's financial strength for the future and for years to come.
Well, 2026 is such a busy election season. Just a reminder, the mayor's race in Loudon, the city council race in Loudon, Lenore City Council, and then Greenback mayor and alderman there. The last day you can register to vote there is October 5th. So if you're not registered to vote, you can. Early voting October 14th through 29th. And then election day is November 3rd. I just want to say thank you for having this conversation with me.
Well, I want to thank you, Elijah, for taking the time out of your schedule to do this. I think it's important that we get information out to the voters, and I think they should do their due diligence on every candidate. And if you think about it, your local candidates make the biggest impact in our day-to-day lives. I mean, they have elections in Washington and federal elections and all that, but the main people that affect us the most are our local officials. So please reach out to me if someone has any questions, and I look forward to meeting people on the campaign trail.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.